E3 comes to an end, and I'm having issues deciding where I'm going to go do Bomb to the Beach this weekend. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
So I'm all covered in paint. Turns out that, if you've been listening to the podcast for the past few days, or have you been listening to the show for the past few weeks, the building is under construction. The building where we work in at iHeartMedia is under construction, so they're doing painting. They're taking off the carpet, and that's given me a massive allergic reaction and stuff like that. And today they decided to paint the door to my studio. They did not really tell me that they were going to do that, and they did it while I was in here. So I was in the middle of the show, and all of a sudden they just start painting the door. So Fridays are kind of crazy for me. We have a lot of guests that have to run around out of the studio. Any other day, I would not have even noticed. And also, by the way, the reason why I can't hear them painting is because it's a soundproof studio. I'm not an idiot. I'm in a soundproof studio. I just can't hear what's happening outside. Anyway, so they're painting the studio outside, and I just walk out, and I forgot to turn off my phone again. But I'm sorry. Still having a brain aneurysm. Allergies not helping me. But anyway, so I walk out of the studio, and I just find myself covered in paint because nobody thought to tell me before they started painting. They're like, hey, guess what? Your door is going to be wet on one side. And so I was covered in paint. Fun times. Fortunately, it was just my hands and a little bit of my hoodie. But it's one of those things that you're like, really? Seriously? Just like a note, something. Because we have a window here. So the door has a window, a little one. They could have just put a sign there saying, or they could have knocked. They could have seen that I was in here and just given me a quick tap on the window. So, you know what? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. This is my lot in life. Anyway, quick reminder, you can find the show on the iHeartRadio app. Just type in the show presents Super Dario World, or you can find it on rock1053.com podcast tab, or you can find it on SoundCloud, YouTube, and iTunes. Just type in Super Dario World Podcast. You'll find it right there. If you want to contact me directly, you can always find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. Comments, questions, or suggestions, I always appreciate that. I keep updating stuff on my stories there. I figured out that apparently you can you can share the podcast right there, so I'm just going to start doing that. It seems way easier than having to do like a daily post or something or a picture. But I'm not going to lie, I kind of enjoy doing those too, so I'll figure out. Maybe I'll just keep doing both. It costs me nothing. Anyway, so I was doing that, and I'm covered in paint, and I don't remember what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Also, keep an eye out on my Instagram because I will be updating on the Bombed at the Beach situation. God, stupid aneurysm. I really need a beer. Anyway, for those of you who don't know what Bombed at the Beach is a game that we play in the show every couple of weeks that consists of, I have to go out to bars and ask random trivia to people who are drinking. So I go out to different bars, different parts of town, and I ask random drunk people random trivia questions, particularly easy ones. And I record them on my phone, and then that audio, we use it on the air. And the crew members, the members of the show, Rock 105.3's morning show, the show, San Diego, they have to guess whether they're going to get those questions right or wrong. I've been doing that for a few years now. I love it. It's great. It's a fantastic way of meeting people. It's hysterical. I've had a ton of fun doing it. And a lot of people reach out to me like, hey, dude, I want to do Bombs at the Beach. Please, can you let me know when you're going to do the same thing? When are you going to do it again? I will. I'll be reaching out. I'm going to be doing it again this weekend. I'm going to be updating things throughout my Instagram. I think that's the easiest way. Right now, I'm having a tough time deciding where I'm going to go because I want to try something different, but I'm also not exactly sure if this is the right weekend to do it because there's a couple of events going through town. I had a lot of people reach out to me and recommend a few spots. One in particular caught my attention, but unfortunately I'm not free. A dude told me of a place where I could get bottomless beers for $20, but it's only on Fridays. So I'm definitely going to check that out next Friday. Unfortunately, I already had plans this one, but I'm going to be checking, next time I do it, I'm going to check that one out because I love a good deal. I'm a sucker for good deals. And they also told me that the beer fest is in town. unfortunately, I've tried doing this in Beer Fest before. It's not the best idea. Let's say, for example, the San Diego County Fair one is this weekend, right? So I go there, I find drunk people, I ask them questions, and the prize that I'm going to give them is fair tickets. They're already in the fair, and so sometimes they don't really appreciate that. Or I've done it in years past, and I might have gotten a bit too drunk, or I'm having too much fun, and I forget to play the game. So Beer Fest, while fun, not always the best places for me to do it. Or wine tastings and stuff like that, not usually the best places. Also, the wine is the devil. Oh, God, the worst hangovers I've ever had in my life come from wine. They're brutal. Anyway, so where was I? Oh, yeah, so I was considering a few places, and honestly, I think it's come down to either downtown, which has always been a safe bet for me. I easily find drunk people there. It's great. Or a place in South Park. Now, the issues that I'm having, P1 recommended this place, a place in South Park. Now, the issues that I'm having is that I found out that I work Saturday, or I got asked to cover a shift. So if I'm going to a new place, I wanted to get there a little bit earlier, kind of scope things out, check out the vibe. And if I didn't like it, I could leave or something. Just have more time, because you got time to pregame, you got time to do everything. It's a whole thing. You could do a whole thing. Bombed. The thing about Bombed is that, and a lot of people, when they join me, because I have friends join me some from time to time to check it out, because for some reason it's way easier when I bring somebody, because it's like, oh, you're not just some random weirdo walking up to talk to me. It's, oh, you're a weirdo who at least has a friend, you know? It's easy when you bring a girl, because then like, okay, well, it's like, it's so weird. When you're anywhere with a girl, it's like the girl is vouching that you're not a psycho. Just the fact that she's there hanging out with you, it's vouching that you're not a psycho. That's what I've always said, that women make the best wingmen by far, because they don't really have to do anything. Just simply by existing near you, it's like a way for other girls to know, like, okay, this dude's cool. He's not a psycho or something. Try it out one day. Get one of your female friends, ask them to join you out for drinking, and try to hit on somebody. You'll notice an immediate difference. It's a completely different vibe. Anyway, so that helps me out when I do Bombed at the Beach, too. But particularly, getting girls to play the game is not really that hard. Getting guys is the hardest part, because they're like, who the fuck is this weirdo coming up to talk to me while I'm drinking? The fuck is happening? Now, if they're fans of the show, it's fantastic. It's phenomenal. It's great. People love this game. I think it's the most beloved game we have. Everybody and their mother has reached out to me like, dude, I want to do Bombed. I want to do Bombed. When can I do it? Blah, blah. I'm like, well, I mean, I can tell you where I'm going to be, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to pick you, because, first off, I got a lot of people asking me. I can't. All right, okay. A lot of people ask to do it. A lot of people want to do it. I love doing it, and I wish I could please everybody. Honestly, I wish I could, because it would make, like, if one day I could just get 100 people, then I don't have to do it for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, that means that I don't have to do it for the rest of the year, so that's not always good for me. But, yeah, I wish I could please everybody, but sometimes, okay, the thing is, you gotta find the right person. And by that, I mean somebody who's not too drunk, and stupid computer giving in. Anyway, I'm not even gonna care. Sometimes they're either too drunk or they're too sober, and that affects it. Or sometimes people freeze. And while I find it hysterical because I'm there and I can see their faces as, like deer in the headlights, it's great. Some people are naturally charming. They have this aura of them. You're like, oh, that's going to be perfect. That person's going to be fantastic. They're going to be great. As soon as you start recording, and I just do this on my phone, so it's not even like a camera pointing at them. It's just a phone that I put up to their face. They freeze. They immediately forget every single word they've ever learned since they were a toddler. It's really funny. It's sad at the same time, because sometimes it's somebody who's really excited to do it. Really excited to do it. They've been a fan of the show forever. This is their chance. They found me at a bar. They're excited. They're just the right amount of drunk. And then all of a sudden, okay, so what's your name? Tony. So for me, it's a very funny experience, but for them, it kind of sucks. So I want to give some kind of compensation prize whenever I can. So that's why now I've had to, establish some rules. Before, back in the day, what I used to do is I used to tell people that if they got a certain number of questions right, then I would buy them a drink. Now, in all the years that I did this, I never bought anybody a drink because nobody would ever get the questions right because they were too drunk. Nobody would ever get all the questions right. And so that was always very, very convenient for me. But I felt, you know what, this is not as cool. I want people to win something because that way, the thing, you need to have a prize because A, it makes it easier to approach somebody. So it makes my job easier. And 2, it makes them actually want to pay a little bit of attention, actually want to make an effort for it. So if, for example, before you could just give me a bunch of goofball answers, like what happens when you mix blue and yellow? I fuck your mom. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Okay, I got a lot of those. Not that particular one, but I got a lot of those. So it's easier if, okay, here's a prize. If you get a certain amount of them, you get a prize. Now, what I kind of try to do is if, let's say, for example, right now I got a bunch of fair tickets. They gave me a bunch of fair tickets. So I'd be like, okay, well, if you do it and it's funny and you're charming and everything's fine, and I feel like, okay, this could be good on the radio, I will give you fair tickets. And so it gives them a little bit extra. They're not just being like, oh, well, F you, dude. F you and you and your standards. You and your stupid standards, man. I'm just trying to have fun, bro. I'm doing you a favor, man. Now it's not like you're doing me a favor. It's you're doing something to win something. And I don't know. I feel like it relaxes people a little bit more. I don't know why. It's worked. Like ever since they started giving me prizes to give away, it's been a completely different experience. It's been way easier. But anyway, I'm rambling on. I've just noticed I've rambled on for over 10 minutes on this, and I was not even going to talk about this now. I was going to talk about it at the end. But anyway, so I'm trying to decide between downtown and South Park. Did I explain why? I think I did, but I'm going to say it anyway. Downtown, oldie but a goodie. Always a sure thing. I can move around to different bars if I need to. South Park, it would be a new experience. And I heard of a place that sounds awesome. It was highly recommended by multiple people. So both sound great. And since I cannot make up my mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my Instagram, I'm going to put up a poll. So as soon as I'm done with the podcast, I'm going to put up a poll up there asking people, where do you think? For tomorrow, which area sounds better? South Park, I'm not going to say exactly what bar, but it'll be either South Park or downtown. And depending on what people say, that's where I'm going to end up. So I'm going to give a voice to the people. You guys are going to pick where the next Bombed at the Beach is going to be, or at least what area. And so I will go there after work tomorrow when I get off work, which shouldn't be that late. It's usually before 10. And I don't like going to bars. When I'm doing Bomb, I don't like going to bars before 10 anyway, because I don't think there's that many drunk people. Anyway, I'm a night owl on the weekends, so I will go to that area and do Bombed at the Beach. So look up on my Instagram, @Dario the Show. Check out my story today and vote. I'm going to put a poll up there. All you have to do, I think, if I understood how polls work on the app, all you have to do is click on the one that you think will be better, and I'll get the results. So there you go. That's how the next Bombed at the Beach is going to work. Hopefully it won't blow up in my face. Hopefully it won't mess up. Hopefully everything will go according to plan, because that's how plans always work, right? Right? Anyway, that's the big announcement for Bombed, and let's move on to E3. Okay, so I want to talk about this one because it's kind of a biggie. E3, as you know, is the big gaming expo. I've been covering it all week. If you don't know what E3 is by now, I don't know how you ended up in my podcast. But here is the thing, and there was a big change this year on E3, and that's that Sony and Activision did not make an appearance this year, along with other developers didn't show up, but those are the two biggies. Sony, who you know makes the PlayStation, and Activision, who is a big name developer. They decided not to show up this year, and their presence was felt by everybody. The most shocking statement came from Phil Spencer, who is the head of Xbox, and he said, and I quote, "E3 is not as good when Sony are not here." That's what he said. E3 is not as good when Sony are not here. Again, that's coming from the head of Xbox, their fiercest competitor, And they said that E3 was not as good without them there. I agree. I happen to agree with what Phil Spencer said. I did not expect him to say it, but I agree. There was a part of me is happy because it means that it was less stuff for me to go through. And I've been going through a lot of stuff. But it's, I don't know, there is a void there, and it kind of makes things more complicated. Similar things happening with Comic-Con, for example, here in San Diego, where Disney's not showing up, and I think DC also announced that they're not going to be showing up, or what is it, Warner Brothers? The point is, they've announced they're not going to do a panel or anything, and that sucks because, well, I understand that they're big enough that they could do their own thing, but there was a time and a place where everybody congregated for one thing. They united for the love of one thing. It united the industry. It put a spotlight on the industry. It's the biggest event in the world at that moment, and your industry is at the forefront of it. Now, if you separate it into a bunch of smaller events, I get why it's advantageous to you because the spotlight will be on you, but it won't be as big. It won't be as important. You're breaking things apart, and I understand it. Don't get me wrong. I understand why they did it, and Sony wants to do their own thing. They're big enough; they can do it. I perfectly understand it. You don't want to share the stage with your competition, but to me, it's always been more of a celebration of the community, celebration of the industry, celebration of the fans. It's not about. It's about the fans going there and getting to experience all of it, getting in deep and seeing everything. Not so much as for you to showcase your stuff. I mean, it is, but okay. I guess I've only ever seen it from the fans' perspective because I've never been there as a creator for a video game. All right, I've never been to Comic-Con as a producer for a film. I understand it if you're on the other side, why you want to not have to deal with competition. I just don't understand it from the fan side. And correct me if I'm wrong, the fans are the most important part of it, right? Right? You want to keep your fans happy, right? I'm not crazy about that. You kind of want to do what the fan wants, or you want to give them something that they did not expect. However, if you're a guy, if you're a girl, or if you're a random person, if you're an individual, you're a teenager, well, you're a 19-year-old, which is generally, or let's say you're a young person, you're in school still, you don't make that much money, but you saved up enough money to get tickets to E3. To get tickets to Comic-Con, because that's the biggest event of the year, of your community. You're a really hardcore gamer. You're really hardcore into comics. You're really hardcore into movies. And you manage to save up, you get tickets, you're lucky enough to buy your tickets, and then all of a sudden you go there and Sony's not there? Disney's not there? And you're like, okay, well, it's still going to be awesome because there's so much stuff to do, but you're kind of watering it down. And then if you want to go to see Disney stuff, if you want to go see all the DC stuff, if you want to go see all the Sony stuff, you have to go to a separate event, which means that you have to get tickets to something else. You have to get reservations for something else. Unless you live in the city, you have to get separate tickets. It's just not as fun. I could maybe get pressed off. I didn't even try for E3 because I knew that I was busy here at the Rock Station in the mornings, so I didn't even try. But I probably could. So maybe I would only have to worry about stay, but I have friends in LA, so I could stay with them. So I would only have to worry about, missing out a few days of work. But that I'm not the normal everyday fan, all right? The normal everyday fan who consumes all the stuff, who has to pay for everything and all that stuff. I'm very, very lucky. I'm very, very lucky, and I really appreciate that. And you could argue that I put myself in this position, but I don't think so. I've always tried to be grateful for all that things. But I know that not everybody's in the same position. Some people just go because they're fans. And I understand that. The first time I went to Comic-Con, I went because I was a fan and I wanted to go to Comic-Con. So you end up spending money normally. And I've complained about this incessantly. The industry is already too expensive. And so by separating it, you're just screwing your fans. You're screwing the consumers. You're screwing us. You're screwing the people who are spending the money to go there and see you. That's not cool. I understand it's a business tactic, whatever, but you're screwing us over, and that kind of makes me not like you so much. So as of this moment, I'm honestly more excited for the new Scarlet, because it has Halo, than I am for whatever Sony decides to release, unless it's The Last of Us. But damn it, son of a bitch, they're lucky they have The Last of Us. Anyway, the point is right now I'm kind of pissed at one side, but I'm pleased with the other. Also, Phil Spencer mentioned something that is incredibly important. If you listen to my podcast very recently, I believe it was last week, I talked about the fact that the World Health Organization just named or labeled playing video games a gaming disorder, a disease. They labeled the gaming disorder a disease, a mental disease. I complained about that a lot, and to me, it seemed that this was the time for the community, for the industry to come together and united, address that. Put out a statement to the World Health Organization, to freaking the UN, to everybody. We are not a disease. Our hobby is not a disease, okay? There are sick people who play video games. Yes. Do those people need help? Yes. Do video games make people sick? No. And it was an opportunity to show a united front against it, because right now the industry is under attack for several reasons. They're under attack by me because they're too expensive. And I love them too much. They're too expensive, so I can't play all of them. They're under attack by people like me because of it. Because, we want them to be cheaper, but we also want to make more money. But whatever, doesn't matter. The point is they're under attack by people like me for that. They're under attack by the government because it's a mental disorder. What? Are you kidding me? Well, by the UN, it's not really the government. But if they start regulating it, the point is that and I explained this on the other podcast, basically, if you say it's a mental disorder, if you say it's a disease, then you're going to have to regulate it the same way that you regulate tobacco, the same way you regulate alcohol. You need to license to make it. You need a permit to make alcohol, because it causes a disease called alcoholism. So if video games cause diseases, then you're going to have to regulate it the same way, and it's going to make the prices go up even more. And they're going to start, meddling and all that stuff, and it's really annoying, and I don't want my government to be involved in my video games, okay? Video games are an escape. They're fun. They're supposed to be relaxing. They're not supposed to be causing fucking stress all the fucking time. Also, stay away from my shit. That's a message to the government. Leave me alone. Don't mess with my shit. Don't make it more expensive. It's already expensive enough. Anyway, so they're under attack from various different areas, and this would have been the moment, the time. Even if you don't want to do the whole thing, just send one or two people from Sony saying, you know what, we're united against this. They are wrong. They are wrong for the label they're trying to put on us. They're wrong for what they're trying to say about our industry, for what they're trying to say about our livelihoods, what they're trying to say about our hobbies, for the things that we love. There's nothing wrong with loving what we love. There's nothing wrong with playing something that makes us happy. There's nothing wrong with escaping the stress of reality every once in a while. There's nothing wrong with what we do. Now, again, reiterating, there are sick people who play video games. Yes. Are video games the reason why they're sick? No. There's no evidence to point to that, and this would have been the opportunity as a united front with the world's spotlight on you, because right now, like I said, the biggest event in the world as of this moment was E3. Right? You got the world staring at you, the spotlight's on you. You had the opportunity to say what you wanted to say, and the world had to hear you, and you missed out. You missed out. You fucked up. Sony, you fucked up. Xbox, you fucked up. Nintendo, you fucked up. All of you fucked up. You had the opportunity, and it passed you by. Or if it didn't, then I missed it. Honestly, because I've been looking at everything, through pretty much everything, and I did not see anything related to that. Nothing of unity, nothing of anything, nothing. You're under attack, and you're breaking apart under it. And that's bad. That's bad for your industry. That's bad for the future of the industry. And honestly, that's it. That's my rant for today. There wasn't that much that was shown over the last few days that I missed. And they did more. They went deeper into the gameplay of other stuff. They did interviews that I found some very, very interesting. But I can wait for next week to that, just a recap of the top thing. I'll do a recap of the top things that happened on E3. That way you'll know and you can check. Because I had people reach out to me like, dude, this is great. What you're doing, that just simplifying everything, that I don't have to go through all that shit. It's great. So I'm going to simplify my simplification, I guess. And next Tuesday, probably. Next Tuesday, I will just give you my maybe even top 5, because there's a lot of meat in the bone there. So I don't know. I'll think about it a little. But that was it. That was my rant. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of how the industry is right now. what they should do. Maybe I'm crazy. I've always liked to keep that option on the table. There's always the possibility that I'm just crazy, that I'm overreacting to all this, that I'm exaggerating, that I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. I'm open to other options, but as of right now, it's just a wasted opportunity, and it sucks because it's an industry that I love. You know, I love video games. I've been playing Red Dead Redemption nonstop, and I've been playing it on my PlayStation, which pisses me off. It's just, like a little salt in the wound, because this is so good. Why would you fuck up? Why? Anyway, that's it. So, as always, at Dario the Show, you can always find me on Instagram. Remember, I will be putting up the poll on where do you want Bombed at the Beach to be done. Is it downtown or somewhere in South Park? I will keep you posted of the results there. I will probably announce the results Saturday at one point. So, yeah, that's it. That's it for this week. If there's anything you thought that I missed or anything that you think I'm wrong of, like I said, comments, questions, or suggestions right there. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.